Virei aqui.
Okay, I see some people are joining. I think the other session is ending. Let's wait few more, 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we'll start.
Perfect. So hi everyone that is getting in. So hi.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. It is here on
Mhm.
participants, the amount of people reaching, right?
Yes, I feel by my experience that the other session might be ending now because when it ends, there
The
is a
people
storm.
come. Yeah,
Yeah, of
okay.
people. And
Makes sense.
now we have just Genevieve, but we will soon start it. When the flow comes, we start it so people don't miss part of your speech. And after this session, we have a break. So
So hi Geneva. It's a great to already have you here.
okay, they are in the last closing remarks there. So they will come.
Someone else arrived. Hi. Welcome.
Yeah, arrived. We are just waiting for a few seconds or minutes because the other session people are in the closing remarks. So we will be soon starting.
Perfect. If you want both people who are here present ourselves, I have like normally I can read it. There's not among people in this moment.
People
So
are coming.
present. Yeah, okay. They're coming. So hi
Good.
coming.
Okay. Welcome everyone. Please join me on welcoming Gabriela Moisés for our session on municipal democracy, territory, and gender. Gabriela Moisés is the founder of AME, and an activist for sexual and reproductive health and rights from Brazil. As an activist for sexual and reproductive health and rights and the founder of AMEM, strategy to empower young girls with menstrual education, because talking about menstruation is talking about bodies. It pressures local legislative progress for sexual and reproductive health and rights demands at her city, Campinas, in Brazil. She works as a mobilizer for regional youth conference and as a regional focal point for the HEW campaign. She has been recognized as an Ashoka Young Changemaker and a Grow Up Project Award winner. So, Gabriela, it's an honor to have you on our stage. It's a pleasure to welcome you on our stage, and the floor is all yours.
So hi everyone. Thank you, Paulo. So hi Rodrigo, who is here too. I will be sharing my screen for us to start. And my main goal with this show is to always keep a focus on what we are talking. So we are not going to be moving slides, but I think this is illustrative of our goal here on these minutes. Hi, my name is Gabriela Moisés. Paulo made an amazing presentation, but I'm going to give a little context from where I come from beyond achievements. I was born here in Campinas, that is near São Paulo, capital of Brazil. It is a countryside metropolitan city. And I grew up a part of my life in Lorena, which is a city near São Paulo and Rio, and came back to Campinas, where at my 15 years old, I started advocating for education. And after pandemic slowed down a little bit and I was able to reach physical spaces, I was leaving this space of advocating for education with other young leaders online to going physically and doing work that I was seeing that is needed by my community. As I said, Campinas has 1 million citizens, so we have diverse realities of territories, organizations, political structures, and history. And I will be talking mainly about these and what my city has taught me on how to think municipal democracy. That is a term that I use to talk about this social organization around how we reivindicate for rights, how we think about politics at the local level, and mostly too, what it is talking about gender in our lives, not only in sense of the spaces that we are reaching of leadership and who we are aspiring ourselves to, but in our daily life as citizens, how your gender has impacted, and it is impacting the ways that you have access, rights, information, and think what your behavior. To start, in the end of 2021, I started doing a menstrual ads campaign. So I raised pads for people in homeless situations in Brazil. And this gave me the perspective that the people that were in homeless situations in my city were facing also the lack of infrastructure to the nights. So the first reflection that I wanted to give, it is the sense that to talk about menstrual rights and delivering pads, for example, we need to understand too infrastructure and in the specific territory in our city, what is the demand, what is need to be settled so that that pad actually fulfill its purpose. Because if the people who period in that situation doesn't have access, for example, a bathroom to change or a place for privacy, maybe that pad won't be useful. And the same comes from when thinking about ecological products and a sense of ecological menstrual products. If you do not have access, for example, to water, to privacy, that product that is being delivered may not fulfill its role and its first intention. So to begin this reflection, the first knowledge that I received from working at my city was that we need to think about the structures and the levels of those we are acting with. But more than how we define those and the identity, the cross pride, for example, we are talking about a woman, we're talking about people in vulnerable situation, but specifically their reality in their territory. And territory, it is a term that I'm going to be using to refer to a neighborhood, a urban community, a space that are going to visit itself with lives and households. And thinking about this, I started also reaching to classroom to talk about youth about menstrual education, which approaches a little bit the integral education sexuality. Terms about talking about bodies, self-understanding yourself, and consensus and respect among peers. And one of the main reflections that also come alongside this, it is to think that to talk about our relations and the territory, content and information, it is consumed different, not in in sense of where you come from as a country or your identity, but the territory, the way that you access, for example, I'm going to give you a little example. If your neighborhood has a high incidence of violence against women and you have access, is there present, for example, what we call CELMO, that is the Center to Support Women for Gender-Based Violence? this will give an information for you on the access that you are having. So taking into account when talking about relations among peers and behavior in sense of gender, it is really important. And another thing that I wanted to put in reflection here, it is the fact that we also need to consider that what we as young people, that is the mostly who I work with and talking about education, are consuming as a reference. An example is that the campaign for increasing voting in Brazil was led through a lot of different fronts, with directly going to schools, communication in the media. But something that was really effective was that famous people and their usual reference for youth was talking about that, and furthermore, affecting their behavior. When we go to a more local level, to the neighborhood you're born in, we have different spaces we respect and use as a reference. I grew up in a household which I frequented a club most for my life, and as a religious part, and that shaped a lot the way I view the world. So that club, that place that I usually go with my family and other spaces, was having an effect in directly my life, and the ones that was there. That was extremely different from other people that was in the same town, usually from the same background than me. So those spaces are clear roles on the way that we're going to start reaching new information, perspective, and culture, and shifting throughout time. So cultural spaces are a way of doing that. We have slums on Brazil, for example, in territories, a way to reach young people in what we are talking about and accessing territory so that we are embraced when doing this work. And finally, I hope to not be crossing too much the time here. I want to also to provide a perspective on how we reivindicate for rights when talking about a municipal level. And the reflection that I wanted to put, it is firstly that conflict can be beneficial to start conversation, in the sense of first putting something that generates conflict can start generating conversation when it is ignored, for example, by public municipalities or political figures. An example that we have here in Campinas is the Ocupação Maria Lúcia Petit, which is an occupation that was born because we had only one building supporting gender-based violence in Campinas, and we have 1,300,000 citizens. So that wasn't supporting the demand. And until we had used different ways to pressure to other spaces, that wasn't being effective. So a collective, and here's really important in my perspective, is that organizing ourselves locally and politically, civically, it is really important in collectives. So there's different agents that are fighting for it at a local level, and this is important. And considering this, they have occupied a space that generated a lot of different perspectives on the media, on the politicians' figures, on city councilors. And this started generating a conversation that wasn't being heard before. Even if the occupation didn't went future, which happily they went future, they stayed under space, it started generating a conversation that wasn't happening before. So conflicts can start this process of changing our way to relate with public policies and access to political debates that are being neglected. And this is one thing. And lastly, the sense of what are the key agents that we are considering when doing change at local levels. And the perspective that I wanted to give was that we can rely to on different sources that we wouldn't be thinking before. So for example, putting a post, putting a folder on some strategical places can be a small action that make a lot of shifts and transform a lot of things. I guess that's it. And I wanted to open for questions in those last minutes. I hope to have contributed with this thinking about where we live and we come from, come across a lot of different challenges, especially when considering gender. In Campinas, and as an example, we had a lot of issues, for example, when talking about bus security at nights, because lighting was low in a lot of territories. And when we think about that, the city hall started doing in one of the bus stops a smart city where you can have access to an attendance. And it is really interesting, but this was built on the center of the city. And we are talking about a lot of districts. So how are we making sure that the technologies that we are building, especially thinking about gender, are actually accessing those who are in the most peripheral regions, and also make sure that the infrastructures in between allows that this access is efficient. I would love to open for questions.
Thanks, Gabriela. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We needed to move to other sessions and also give a break for the organizers to playing around. But thank you so much for bringing your thoughts, your experience, for rooting our conversation in real life examples. And congratulations for the amazing work you have been doing. It's definitely our honor to hear from you, and highly inspiring to see like a young person, a student, taking the lead, driving change, and helping her city and our communities to change for a better place. So thank you so much. I do appreciate your presence, and you are always welcome.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I'm gonna leave here my contacts for people if you want to talk.
Please. Fantastic. You can also leave your email if you don't want.
Yes,
Thank
both.
you.
Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Rodrigo, for the invitation. I feel really honored to be here.
Fantastic. So we are now going for a short break and coming back to the next session on climate change and communities in power, starting in 9 minutes. So please come back to the lobby, take your time, go for a water or something else, and we will see each other soon in the next panel discussion. Thank you again, Gabriela. Nice to meet you.
It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.